Hey everyone, I'm so sorry. I'm not sure. YouTube has been having some issues lately because so many of us are using it. But I hope that you all can find this new link and we'll go ahead and get started. I'll resend out the updated link afterwards in case that you couldn't find this live. But today we are going to be doing Waltz Technique using your box. For the sake of continuity, I will be always demonstrating with a left box or a reverse turn. But just know that all of these different things that we're going to be working on today can definitely also be used with your right box or your natural turn. So we're going to be kind of biting things off in little chunks and then putting everything together at the end. This will be a great video if you want certain things that you can practice to work on by yourself that will help you whether you're a leader or a follower. Now, if you have something available, I will be using a little bit of a prop sometimes. I will be using my handy dandy scarf here. So if you have a necktie, a TheraBand, a scarf, a long towel that's readily available, you can go ahead and grab that. If not, absolutely no problem. You can always pretend or apply pressure or just kind of use it the way I'll be using it throughout class, okay? Let's go ahead and get started. You don't need those props right now, okay? So just in case we have some newcomers joining us who might not know the waltz, I'm going to start from the very, very beginning, again, using my left box to demonstrate everything. So, my box step, just the positions of my feet, I'm going to be taking my left foot forward, my right foot to the side, and I'm going to be closing my left foot to my right foot. My right foot will go back, left foot to the side, and right foot closing to left foot. Now you'll see me kind of layering on technique as we go. But when I demonstrate at first, I'm going to try and keep things very simple. So you'll see me walking, but don't worry, we're not going to end with walking. We're going to end it very much so dancing. Yeah, so let's just look at that one more time. Nice and quickly we have forward, side, close, back, side, close. And as we may or may not know, our box has many different ways that we can rotate. To learn our first techniques, we're going to just leave it stationary, okay? So just leaving it the way that I showed it just now, without any amount of the turn, okay? Now, I'm going to be turning to the side here so you can see my profile, okay? And what I want to do is I want to try and make sure that I'm going to be using the different parts of my feet to aid me in this step, okay? And I should make a note that right now I'm showing this box step as a leader, okay? But it's the same for the follower. We just start what would be halfway through the box right now, if that makes sense, with the right foot going back. But the techniques will be the same, yes? Okay, so let's go over our footwork, starting with the left foot. We're going to be reaching with the heel, okay? And then going to what we call toe of the left foot. And what that means is that I'll be commencing to rise. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So I go to the toe of that left foot, and then I have the toe of my right foot, and then I'm toe heel on my left foot. Let's look at those three steps again. So I have heel, toe, 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 heel. On the back half, which is where the lady would start her box, or the follower, yes, I'm going to go toe, heel, no foot rise, toe, toe, heel. When we talk more about rise and fall, we'll talk a little bit about what I mean about no foot rise, okay? But for right now, let's just repeat those footworks with me facing my back towards you. So starting with the left foot going forward, you can put your hands on your hips for balance if that helps. We have heel, toe, 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 heel, toe, heel, toe, toe, heel. One more time. Heel, toe, 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 heel, toe, heel, toe, toe, heel. Very nice. Excellent, everybody. Now, let's get to the fun stuff, okay? Now, when we're talking about waltz, we very often have this kind of lilting kind of feeling, yes? You can laugh at me from home if you'd like. This kind of lilting feeling of the waltz. Everything goes up, and then everything comes down, right? Everything goes up, and then everything comes down, yeah? That's kind of the feeling of the waltz. Even the music tells us to do that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? So, that feeling, that lilting effect that we have is something called rise and fall, okay? And rise and fall is something that we continuously work on. It's kind of like the Cuban motion of your smooth and standard dancing, yeah? We are always developing it and trying to watch it grow, okay? So, for rise and fall, we're going to take our props right now, and we're just going to do some exercises that help us with balance, because through rise and fall, I'll be either flexing or bending my knees, yes, to, for lack of a better term, lower through my legs, yes, or I'll be using rise from 3 parts of my body. We have 3 parts of the body where we can rise from. Let's look at those. I'll turn to the side so you can see them. We can rise from our ankles. So you see I'm just lifting up onto the balls of my feet, just rising from my ankles. I can rise from my knees, so if I'm in that flexed position, I can rise from my knees. Yeah, we do this one a lot, just in our regular day-to-day life. And I can also, my third one, which is kind of the hardest one, is rise from my body. So this would be like sitting up tall or standing tall with nice posture. I can have that extra little bit of pull. So to help us with balance throughout all of that, friends, I'm going to take a prop. You can watch me or you can follow along if you have something readily available. But this is a great exercise, something to do if you always struggle with balance. This is a great way to help you. Normally in the studio, I would do this with a band, but today I'm doing it with my scarf since I am home, okay? We're going to put this band around our neck like so we can grab either end of it, okay? What I want everyone to do, I'm going to show it sideways and from a few different positions first. What I want everyone to do is just stand in a nice, comfortable position, feet about hip distance apart. I want you to shift your weight towards the ball of the feet, okay? So you could lift your heels if you want to, but you do not have to, okay? And I want you to go ahead and get that beautiful posture. So I have my sternum extended, but my rib cage is closed, okay? My shoulders and lats are wide and down. And I'm going to grab either end of the band. And in this position, I'm going to give just a little bit of tension, a little bit of tone, and I'm going to pull down, okay? While keeping my posture. So I'm not going to let it pull me actually down. I'm going to just give myself a little bit of resistance. So you should feel your lats really engage your intercostal muscles of your stomach, yeah? So now I'm going to add a little bit, make it a little bit harder for you guys, and I want you to have that same resistance feeling as we rise through the ankle joint. So I'm going to find my posture, I'm going to give myself that resistance, and I'm going to continue to pull down on my band as I rise through the ankle joint. Now once I think I've got a nice balance going on, I want to try and maintain that same tone, but release my band, my scarf, my towel, whatever that is. Okay, come down whenever you need to. So this is what I say to a lot of, if you're my student, you've heard me say this before, or I'm sure you've heard your teacher say this before, just maybe in a different way. You have to go down to go up, okay? What does that mean? Exactly what we just did, that's what it means. It means that very often when we try to rise, our sternum and our chest and our rib cage and our head and our neck try to rise too, and everything's going up. It's really hard to balance, yeah? So when everything comes up and over the top, I'm putting all of that pressure on my ankles. And a lot of us will never be strong enough to hold it there by ourselves, let alone, even if we are strong enough, it will throw our partner off balance. Because look at my lines. When I do something like that, if I have my partner here, I'm pulling away from them now, yeah? So again, I want this feeling, kind of like if you're short, like me, if you have ever needed to jump up to reach the, on the kitchen counter to reach the highest shelf, you see you have this downward pressure. You're working against equal and opposite forces, right? Physics, I'm working against something to raise myself up. And that's how our body finds the best stability, okay? Now let's talk about going down, yeah? So I'm gonna take this band here, or for me this is my scarf, and I'm gonna bring it behind me. I can grab it here, okay? I'm gonna find my posture again, all right? And then I'm gonna pretend like this is my spine. So remember when I said that we can have rise from our body, okay? So this is gonna be like my spine. It can compress and it can lengthen, right? When I go down, I wanna think about going up to go down. Because what we don't want in dancing, which so often we see, especially when we're going backwards, is that just, everything goes down, everything goes down, yeah? And I'm pulling or pushing or leaving my partner, and then you get told that you're heavy, and you know, the list goes on and on of complaints, right? So when I go down, if I'm just standing in that nice neutral split weight position, nice and comfortable, when I lower or flex my knees, I want to think about lengthening my spine. So I'm going to actually give myself resistance, one hand pulling down to the floor, one hand pulling up towards the ceiling, and I'm going to imagine that that's my spine growing long in two different directions as I go down. So I'm going to grow long this way as I go down, okay? So those are just great exercises to kind of get you to feel how to stay stabilized and balanced using your rise and fall. Now, how does that apply to our box? That's the name of the game today, right? Well, our box, whether on the left or the right, natural or reverse turn, has what's called basic rise and fall, right? It's your basic step. It has basic rise and fall. So I always like to think of it as a graph. I kind of showed this graph with my hands. Okay, as I lower on one, I commence to rise at the end of one. I continue to rise on 2 and 3, and I lower at the end of 3 to begin again. Let's do that with movement, okay? So I'll lower. So flexing my knees. Remember, think about that band that you have of getting long to go down, okay? And then I commence to rise at the end of one. What does that mean? That means that I'm going to begin to go up towards my partner. I like to think of this as a wave. You know how a wave comes up and underneath? Okay? Eventually, at the end of this hour, we'll be talking about using swing with that. But right now, just think of yourself as kind of this wave coming up and over. I continue to rise on 2. Okay, so I'm on both balls of the feet here, but my knees are just slightly flexed. I have lots of body rise. And on 3, I continue to rise. So this is the full point of my rise, yeah? I'm on both balls of the feet, everything's stretching, my knees are stretched, my body's stretched. Think about that band, but my lats are pulling down to keep me balanced, and then I lower at the end of 3. Wow, let's do the back half of the box. Again, I'm lowering on 1. I commence to rise. I have that same feeling. I commence to rise at the end of 1, okay? But I have something called no foot rise. So ladies, this would be your first step for you. What that means is that I don't want to pop up. I'm going to move this leg out of the way so you can see. I don't want to pop up on my heel here. So I'm going to do something incorrectly. I don't want to do something like this, yeah, where I'm popping up onto that back leg, okay? Why? because I have to leave room for my partner, right? We're always dancing with another person, unless we're in quarantine like we are now, but we want to practice like we can dance with another person so we can be better when we get back in the studio. So I'm going to commence to rise at the end of one, no foot rise, so just in the body a little bit, just having this nice kind of breath here. And then I continue to rise on two, so now I'm on both balls of the feet. And three, I'm reaching, everything's reaching, lats are pulling down, think about your scarf, and I lower at the end of three. That is a big workout, but it's great. So let's do that a little bit more seamlessly. From the left, I'm going to face my back to you to give you a different perspective here. Starting from the beginning, working on rise and fall. You can continue to use your prop or just kind of imagine it like I am. We have lower on one. Commence to rise at the end of one. Continue on two and three. Lower at the end of three. Lower. Commence, no foot rise. Continue on two and three. Lower at the end of three. Beautiful, everyone. Very nice. Gives you lots to practice. Okay, so now I would like, now that we've gotten a little bit about what our footwork should be, whether we're using the heel or the toe or the ball of the foot, we've talked a little bit about what our basic rise and fall is for waltz. I'd like to give you some more exercises where you can kind of incorporate all of these things, but also work on something called timing, okay? So very often when we first learn waltz, okay, we're stepping, we like to step on every beat so we can think about what the music is doing. So when we first learn it, it looks something like this. Step one, side two, step on three, step one, step two, step three, and we kind of march, 1, 2, 3. Now, this is the perfect opportunity while we're all locked up in our homes to get away from that and kind of smooth things out and have that lilting type feel that we were talking about. So let's look at an exercise. Again, I'm going to start with my left foot going forward, okay? And as I lower, okay, I'm going to think about reaching my forward leg. It has no weight on it at this moment, okay? Reaching my forward leg. And then getting to a split weight position on one, on the down. So when that clash happens on one, I'm going to think about getting to this lunge position. So I'm going to count in ands. On every and, we're going to move to a split weight position. And then once we get to split weight, that will be the actual number. Yeah? So we're here. We're going to go and 1. Good. I'm going to move. I'm going to reach my leg. I'll show this from a few different angles. And 2. Move through and split weight 3. And 1. And 2. And 3. Let me do that from another angle for you. We have commencing and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Very nice, everybody. I know I can't see you doing these lovely movements with me from home, but I have been teaching for a while, so I will guess that going forward feels a little bit nicer than going backwards, okay? What we lack sometimes is this idea, so everyone take your hands, And I want you to find your hip bones. So you can move your hips around a little bit, find those pokey little bones there. And then go a little bit inwards to where there's a divot between your legs. So this little like indent, yeah? Okay? What I'm trying to have you find is this socket that we have between our leg and our hip, okay? There's like a little ball socket that the femur bone, okay, rests in, okay? And this lets our leg move in lots of directions, yeah? So take your leg, any leg, and just kind of swing it back and forth while your hand is on that divot. You should feel it crease when it goes forward, and it should feel like it's stretching open as it goes backwards. Now, that stretching open as it goes backwards, we're always not very comfortable with, yeah? Probably because we don't spend most of our life walking backwards unless we're dancers, right? So, as I go backwards, let's say I'm taking my right leg backwards, I always want, on that and beat, okay, I always want to stretch that leg behind me before I change weight with my spine. Yeah, before I bring my spine over the foot, I want to have that feeling of lengthening, okay, that swing that we'll talk about later, yeah, before I get to that split weight position, okay? Something to think about and practice. To keep us moving along, the next thing I would like to do is talk a little bit to you about swing, sway, and CBM, and how those things affect our box and our waltz in general. So these are the 3 principles that kind of elevate somebody's dancing. It's what you look at when you look at your teachers or other professionals, and you're like, wow, it's just, everything's just so beautiful, yeah? And they're the concepts that are a little bit harder to explain. They're harder to feel in our bodies. So, what I want to do now is we're going to leave our box for a moment, and I'm going to show you some exercises. These exercises are great not only for learning what I call these 3 planes of movement, okay? But if you've ever wanted to know more about how you style your arms in waltz, okay? These will also help with that, okay? So I get often from ladies questions like, what do I do with my arms when I do such and such? Well, here's an example of how you can practice getting comfortable moving your arms, and also how you can learn these 3 planes of movement. I call them planes of movement because I think it's a little bit easier for our brains to comprehend that way. So let's start with the first one. Let's start with swing, okay? We're going to take our left arm, okay, get your left arm, and I want you to windmill it around in a circle. So going like a backstroke. Back and then forward, back and then forward, okay? Now, as I reach my hip, okay, I want you to feel like your hip follows that through. Ooh, let's look at that again. My hip follows that through. And it almost like takes me to the balls of my feet, like an underhand pitch. Okay? As I come up, I'll get to neutral on the balls of the feet, and then I'll lower to begin again. Swing forward, neutral, lower. One more time. Swing forward, neutral, lower. Okay. Now, how does that look with movement? The next thing I would graduate you to, once you felt semi-comfortable with that, is walking forward and walking back, okay? So, I want you to imagine if you've ever been to a fair, okay? You know those boat rides that you can get on where they're going back and then forward and then back and then forward, okay? I like to set myself up on a diagonal, okay? And I'm going to take my left leg first, okay? And just my feet see, I'm gonna go forward, forward, up, just tapping, and back, back, tap. So as I'm doing that, I'm going heel, toe, toe, tap the toe, toe, heel, tap. This is not a real step. This is just an exercise. So I'm kind of mimicking my rise and fall. And I'm thinking about kind of being one of those boat rides in a fair. So you can see what I want to do is I'm going to take my arm, okay? I'm going to prepare everything back. So my left leg, my left arm is back. As I go forward, I'm going to swing my hip and my arm, whee, yeah, up towards the ceiling. Now, don't forget your previous lesson. Don't let that affect your sternum in your head, or else you're never going to be able to balance. We want to still have that feeling, that resistance of our scarf or our band. So I'm preparing, I'm going to swing up, up, and back, back, tap. Let's do that one more time. And swing up, up, back, tap, tap. Let's do that on the other side with our right leg. Again, I'm preparing right arm, right leg. And swing up, tap, swing back, back, swing up, up, swing back, back. So here I'm practicing this action that we have of swinging through the movement. Don't worry, I will put this in your box at the end of the lesson. But right now, I'm going to jump ship here, and we're going to talk about sway. All right, now, sway, simply defined, is the inclination of the body from one side or the other, okay? So either I'm going to lean to the right or lean to the left. So remember that ship ride that we were talking about? Instead of thinking about it on this plane, okay, I want you to now take your arms like you're holding a baby, okay, and rock the baby back and forth, okay? So now we're talking about this plane of axis, okay? So I'm square, you could do this, and things are going like a windshield wiper this way, okay? Now, when you're windshield wipering your arms, I want that to affect your hip. So let's get everything cocked to our left. I'll do this from a couple angles, don't worry. And then in the center, I want you to flex your knees and swing everything to the right with straightening the knees. And then flex the knees, swing everything to the left and straighten and swing that way. So you can see now that boat ride is going on this plane of axis. Let me show that facing away from you. Okay, so let's prepare everything to the left again. So my hips and my arms go left. I bend my knees and I sway over here. Now, the way I taught it to you kind of makes a lot of sense, right? But when we talk about sway, so let's get everything to the left again, you can see that everything is actually inclining towards the right. So I've prepped my hips left, which inclines my body to the right, yeah? So if your teacher was to say, right sway, your hips need to go the opposite direction. Your hips need to go left so you can sway to the right. Yeah? Now I promised you arms throughout this too. So this circle right here, okay, either direction, is how I would move my arms to complement a sway action. So if I was going to sway and I wanted to style something, I'd be moving things this way, on this axis. Yeah? And you could play with that. That would all be your personal styling. But I would use this circle, you see me doing right here, to style my arms while I'm using my sway. All right, again, don't worry. I will put this in your box in a moment, okay? But let's talk about our third plane of movement first. CBM, everybody's nemesis, contra body movement, yes? So, I'm gonna break it down in a way maybe you've never done before, maybe you have, but it's good practice nonetheless. I want you to just stand with your feet kind of hip distance apart, just a nice comfortable position. And you're gonna take your arms out to the side, okay? Now imagine that you have a hula hoop around you. This is your third plane of movement, okay? It's this circle that you see me creating around your spine this way, with your spine in the middle. So if my hands are out to the side, let's move our spine and twist around the circle. So kind of looking over my left shoulder, and I can let my arms kind of flow through this. And I'm just opening my spine, twisting to the right and to the left. I'll show that facing the other direction. I'm twisting and twisting. And this, in its most basic form, is how we use CBM. This is also, again, a great arm styling practice. It's floating your arms through this movement. So rotating and then letting the arms float through and finish. I'll go back to the arms in one moment, so I'll have something to add to that. But first, normally we don't have CBM when we stand hip distance apart. I made you guys do something a little bit easier just to get our spines warm up. So we use CBM in dancing to initiate rotation, which normally means that it's going to happen on a forward or backwards movement. So let's take our left leg forward, since that's what we've been doing in today's class. And I get them in a nice lunge position. I'll do this sideways actually first. I'm going to bring my arms to the side, and I'm going to twist to my left. Good. Now if I untwist with my left leg in front, this is actually what we would call side lean, where everything is going in that direction, or this direction, yeah? But again, if I bring my right shoulder to my left knee, this is CBM. I'm gonna make this one step harder, and I'm gonna have you keep your head slightly to the left, and keep one, what we call in yoga, drishti point, okay? Which is where I'm gonna focus on something and not let it go, or a spot, yeah? And as I twist, I'm gonna rotate my spine underneath my head. That is what we'll ask you to do in dancing, okay? Now, for the sake of being even, let's do that same exercise with our right leg forward, okay? So again, my arms are out to the side. I'm in a nice split weight position. Let's take our head to the left slightly and rotate underneath the head. So this one sometimes feels harder for people, yeah? Again, twisting the left shoulder towards the right knee and finishing the line there. Now, as promised, if you are working on arms and you were kind of excited about this idea of having an exercise to work on arms, I would say you should practice turning, just like a 3-step turn. We use this in almost every dance, where you're stepping step, 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 or to the other side, step, 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 okay? So remember when I talked about using this hula hoop of space around your spine. Now, expand your minds, and don't think about that as a flat. Think about taking that hula hoop and making it be able to be this whole sphere of space all around you, okay? That is the plane of movement that I can have when I am rotating to style my arms. So for example, I could just keep it basic and finish my hula hoop just on that first plane that I showed you, okay? Or I can make that a little bit more fancy and use my sphere of space that I have around me to finish my lines. That's for my people who are practicing arms. So let's finish class today by trying to put all of our movements together back into our box, okay? Back into our left box or our reverse turn. Now, in order to incorporate all these movements, we will need to add a little bit of rotation to our box. So we're just going to do a very basic rotation now, and we're going to rotate a quarter of the turn to the left, yeah? I'm going to show this a couple of times because I know I have some followers watching who normally don't start with their left foot forward. So let's just show you what that looks like. Just walking it, I'm just going to march first. I'm going to go left foot forward, right foot to the side, and close. Right foot back, left foot to the side, and close. Stop a little bit. Let's see that one more time, actually. Left foot forward, right foot to the side. I made just a little eighth of a turn, and then as I close my feet, I finish an extra eighth to the left. Right foot back, and on my left foot to the side here, I do the full quarter of a turn only in my feet. This is what we call point alignment, yeah? And then my body completes the turn as I close. One more time for everyone, yeah? This is a good reminder. Left foot forward, and I'm going to add one layer in. I'm going to add our CBM here. So remember, our CBM moves on this plane, okay, that hula hoop. So if I take my left foot forward, I'm going to twist around myself, okay, and that's going to be called commencing to turn left. So you see, my right shoulder is towards my left knee, yeah? Now as I go sideways, okay, I'm going to begin my sway. Okay, so I'm going to think about my boat going, my hips going to the right in order to sway left. And as I get to that third step, I'm going to think about my scarf pulling down and then lowering as the spine lengthens. Again, we're going to take that hula hoop. We have CBM on that back step. Rotating right shoulder to left knee. Swaying left hip to the left. Yeah. To sway and rise. This would be right sway. Think about that scarf pulling down back to neutral and lengthening to lower. Good. The only thing that we didn't add in there is your swing. So let me do that all with you and talk about where the swing fits in. All right, I'm going to start this direction so you can see my hips swinging on that forward movement. So we're going to use everything now. So we're reaching the leg with the heel. We have CBM. Okay, now as I push off the back foot, my right foot, the right ball of the foot, is when I'll have this feeling of swinging, remember our swing this way, up onto the leg, into my partner, yeah? I'm going to swing, and as I get onto the ball of the foot slightly, just a little bit hovering on that left leg, then I can sway my hips to the right, which would be called left sway. So now I added sway, and I balance and lower. Very nice, everyone. I know that is a lot of information, but I'm very, very excited to be going over this. This is very helpful for me. Thanks, Becky. Yes, lots of technique just in one little step, but as they say, if you can do the basic perfectly, you can learn any step in waltz, all right? Thank you guys. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., Melissa will be doing a bar class, so that will be really exciting. You can tune in live. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. If you want to keep these classes coming to you, please feel free to donate to our teachers who teach these classes or to purchase a gift card to use later on private lessons or groups on our website, thedancepavilion.com/shop. Thanks, everyone. I miss you all. Have a wonderful day.